Mr. Butler, I just wanted to come to you briefly. We've heard all of this. There's, tales of repression, but there's also tales of hope. So just tell me, in your considered opinion, is it going to get better, and will it get worse before it gets better?
I think it's hard to be optimistic, to be honest. In the short run, certainly.
Yeah.
If you look across the Asia region, just look at what happened with the Nobel Prize Committee. They awarded it to Maria Ressa of the Philippines and Dmitry Muratov of Russia. It was awarded for Maria's remarkable accomplishments and courage. She's been faced with multiple lawsuits. She could end up in jail quite easily. But they made that award to recognize her courage, but also as a statement that press freedom is essential and that it's under attack across the world, in the Philippines, in Russia, but elsewhere. My organization just on Thursday awarded its highest honor, the Gwen Ifill Press Freedom Award, to Jimmy Lai in Hong Kong. He too has shown incredible courage, more or less single-handedly, taking on the communist government with with the Apple Daily, with Next Digital Media. I met Jimmy in his office about 2.5 years ago, and he was quite aware the Chinese government was coming after him. But he said he would not buckle, he would not flee his home, and he is now in jail, quite possibly for the rest of his life. The Apple Daily was forced to close. China may be a unique case in terms of its power over the media, but I think I look at these two individuals, Maria Ressa and Jimmy Lai, and I say it takes that kind of courage. If we want to uphold the kind of values that we all have here, I think, in terms of freedom of speech and human rights, it's going to take a lot of courage and a lot of determination. Every year on the night of November 30th, CPJ, takes a snapshot of a number of journalists who are in prison. For the first time this year, Hong Kong will be there with 8 journalists, mostly from the Next Digital. Last year, Myanmar had 1 journalist on the census. This year, there will be dozens. The coup in Myanmar effectively wiped out what was a thriving independent media sector and forced many into exile. We did have one victory earlier this week when the US journalist Danny Fenster was released from prison, but we don't have enough of these victories lately. Vietnam, the number of imprisoned journalists is going way up. And my organization has been dealing with this unfolding crisis across the border from Pakistan and Afghanistan, where there was also a thriving independent media sector. And now hundreds of journalists and their families have fled the country out of fear and desperation. Many more are trying to get out. We have been trying to help those at risk. And every day in September and October, we were getting hundreds of requests for help to leave, and we're still getting dozens daily. The Taliban, fortunately, have not been systematically killing journalists, but journalists have been picked up on the streets and beaten, and self-censorship is on the rise. Women are now afraid to go out to the streets and report. And with the economy in free fall, something like 70% of media properties have simply ceased to operate. A little footnote here which is I'd like to thank the National Press Club in Islamabad. They are helping us look after some Afghan journalists as we help to arrange resettlement in a third country. Christine mentioned, the case of Rosina Islam in Bangladesh. Earlier this year, the writer Mustaf Ahmed died in prison, actually, and he was in trial, on pretrial detention under the Digital Security Act. And what we believe it's a case of medical neglect. And his friend, the cartoonist Kabir Kishore, has suffered permanent hearing loss and other severe injuries because of his torture. I think others have talked quite effectively about India and the situation in Pakistan. I would just conclude that I think it is a bleak picture worldwide, but I think we have to take inspiration from the courage of many journalists who have stood up. I'll stop there.
All right, thank you so much.